Hey everyone, Jen here. In this short video, I'm going to be talking about a mindset lesson that I've learned recently, and it's something I want to map out here on this whiteboard. On the left-hand side of the whiteboard, we've got action, and on the right-hand side of the whiteboard, we've got emotion. What catalyzed this whole article and this whole learning for me was a Facebook post by someone who was talking about the peaks and troughs of business. And business doing well, business not doing well, business doing well, business not doing well. The comment on Facebook was, don't get addicted to the struggle. And I thought that that was a really interesting comment. And it's something that I've been observing about myself in business, but I think on reflection, something that I can reflect on many areas of my life of this dynamic at work. So if we were to put on the left-hand side, let's change the color. So with business, we have just sales, client fulfillment, hiring, we have marketing. So many elements of business, which are just actions, activities, things we have to do every day. On the right-hand side, what we have is our feelings that are attached to that. So it's the feeling of failure and loss. To do with client fulfillment, it can be criticism or negative feedback. With hiring, it could be trial and error or feeling that you're making a mistake or risk. With marketing, it could be, again, trial and error, failure, loss, any of the things that we could be feeling about exposure or embarrassment. And this is just an example in business. Of course, we've got the left-hand side and the right-hand side of pretty much any area of our life. We could do the same for physical health and physical fitness. We could do the same for having healthy romantic and platonic relationships. There are just actions, and then there are emotions about those actions. And we are, as human beings, we're enmeshed in both of these. We can't divide that out for ourselves, but becoming very good and strategic and tactical about it is being able to divide that out and then not being addicted to the struggle. So what that particularly meant for me in business is when my sales were going down, my failure feeling was going up. And if for any of us, we have a low self-esteem, or we have weak courage, or we have a deep sense of kind of our own inadequacy, that increase of sense of failure can then put us into a spin. And that is called addiction to the struggle, is in fact something that's very kind of native to us. The struggle of our identity, the struggle of our sense of self-worth, the struggle of our sense of, are we really going to ever succeed? Or do we have the courage to do this? Or do we have the sense of identity and self to overcome this? To really kind of push through the growth of a business, or to push through in growth within romantic relationships, or to push through growth in our physical health or physical achievements, is we have to almost put that struggle aside and just focus on the action, and focus with almost like robotic, systematic, tactical regularity to the actions that will lead to our business success. Because the narrative of our identity and our worthiness will always pull us down and stop us from doing the actions that will actually move our business forward. So we have to stop listening to the romance or almost the addiction of our struggle and the addiction of our failure. Start to just look and see with almost like clinical, tactical, strategic adherence to the X, Y, Z of what we need to do to just move our business forward. Now, it might seem impossible because our emotions tied to these things are too strong. And the way to address the right-hand side struggle and begin to reverse the narrative around low self-esteem, lack of sense of self-worth, the lack of confidence in our ability, is to begin to sow a new narrative and start to encourage ourselves and start to be our own coach and to be our own best friend in lots of ways. And this can be through just affirmations, through charting out and mapping a new identity, starting to speak words of encouragement into ourselves and start to kind of build a sense of identity from the inside. while working tactically and strategically through the things that we need to do to move the business forward. Because as we see those things moving, as we see a business grow, and as we start to invest intentionally in our sense of self and identity, they'll each affirm each other and will continue to grow exponentially higher. Whereas if we allow the struggle and our addiction to the struggle and the narrative of a low sense of identity, any sense of failure will affirm the sense of identity, and it'll pull you down and you'll continue to spiral downwards. So you can see that it can either be a spiral upwards of doing the right behavior while building the sense of identity, which builds the behavior, or it's allowing romance or a narrative of negative ability to hinder achievement, which will then firm a narrative of lack of ability, which will then hinder achievement. And so there's a spiral downwards. This was such an important lesson for me. And it's something that's really just been made very clear to me very recently. So I hope it was a little bit helpful to you. Don't be addicted to the struggle. Write out on the left-hand side the things you need to achieve. Write out on the right-hand side your emotion about those things. Start to intentionally decide to act on the left-hand side with almost like a robotic obedience to the steps that you need to achieve. Learn them like a science. Follow the recipe, follow the steps of people who've gone ahead of you, and just implement them and start to intentionally nurture and build a sense of identity. And you'll see that they'll begin to feed into each other and you'll begin to grow. All right, that's all from me. Hope you found the video helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.